Adaptations by Lisa Renee. September 15, 2016. Website energeticsynthesis.com. Produced by Higher Self.
Dear Ascending Family, the planet has just completed its magnetic peak cycle, which discharged a massive amount of magnetic force into the Earth. The subatomic particles of elemental matter are rearranging to support the planetary body shift into the next harmonic universe. All communication systems connected to these levels of planetary architecture are undergoing fluctuation, reconfiguration and potentially rebuilding interstellar links that reconnect Earth portals to realign into multiple star systems and celestial bodies. This massive shift at the quantum scale is changing the laws of structure in the architecture that governs function over our matter body, as well as our consciousness bodies. For many multidimensional people on the path of ascension, how we connect into many levels of the consciousness structure has radically changed, our light body is radically changing, and our physical body is undergoing a series of adaptations in order to meet the new energy requirements. Our previous ways of consciousness connection and communication are in fluctuation, while our light body is being reconfigured to accommodate the changing planetary architecture, solar architecture and beyond. Essentially, we are the last generation of people that were born into consciousness slavery on the third-dimensional Earth. We will have known consciousness slavery, and will have put an end to it in this lifetime, while in this physical body. Ascending humans are evolving into developing new abilities that change the characteristics of what it means to be human, from dreamwalking, to transfiguration, translocation and transmigration. These are revealing more of the Diamond Sun template's function as a consciousness transport between time fields, and what true freedom is. This month's newsletter will attempt to bring awareness to these multidimensional changes, and the opportunity we have to consciously participate as the living expression of the changing laws of structure. Spiritual ascension is the progression of human consciousness, governed by complex quantum mechanics as it moves throughout time and space, which is essentially about moving our consciousness intelligence from one station of reality to another. The human body is a holographic light projector for transmitting the intelligent energies of the soul's spirit, and is capable of shifting that soul's spirit body into another station of reality, into one that exists in a higher dimension of time. Descending our soul's spirit from the higher realms to inhabit in our cells, while shifting our consciousness into another station of reality, is happening at this time. This shift into another station of reality is made possible while we are inhabiting our current physical body and have the same birth name identity. In previous cycles, to shift the consciousness of the soul spirit in this same way, we would require another identity and body to incarnate into another timeline that existed in another station of reality. This process we have done many times before and it is described as reincarnation. During the ascension cycle, we have the unique ability to change the current location of our consciousness bodies, as we undergo a succession of spiritual initiations, while we have the same physical body. The accumulated memories of our soul spirit intelligence streams that we have transformed within many other previous lifetimes, are being shifted out from their former location in time, as the state of our current identity and consciousness shifts. This can also be described as a mass human soul body retrieval that is returning to populate the Earth body, to be reclaimed by the physical bodies or the individual people that they actually belong to. Many people on the Earth who are not awakened at his time, have aspects of their higher self that have been stuck in some damaged area of the Earth body, from previous timelines where great trauma and cataclysm had transpired. As we change the location of where our previous station of identity and soul spirit body had existed previously in the time field, it requires some adaptations in order to acclimatize our physical body to these changes that are impacting the collective soul and the planetary consciousness structure. Humans that can more easily adapt to the current myriad of environmental challenges and energetic factors, are undergoing types of adaptations that are catalyzing physiological changes. The physiological changes are designed for deep and powerful consciousness transformation to be possible within a physical body on the Earth. In some circumstances, as the physical body undergoes physiological adaptations, these changes catalyze more of the metabolic, organ and glandular systems to activate or awake from dormancy, in order to prepare for the spirit to inhabit the body. The adaptations are connecting through the bodily systems to increase vital force circulation, which facilitates connection into the spiritual energetic circuitry. Many energetic circuits and meridians on the planet have been disconnected or damaged. As a result, the main forces that exist in the human body, the life force, physical vitalities and spiritual energies, were not interconnected or functioning properly. This has contributed to the overall disconnection and lack of communication between the higher spiritual bodies and the physical human body, which impacts the entire human race. Biological evolution. The physiological adaptations that are influencing humanity are in response to the series of biological and spiritual evolutionary markers that are profoundly impacting the planetary architecture, planetary elementals, and the Earth element itself. The combined changes are further impacting the human phenotype as it has been documented within scientific consensus. The human race phenotype is a generalized expression of characteristics and traits influenced from the combination of the genetics, behavioral and environmental factors, as well as the variety of influences stemming from the collective consciousness. Science does not include the many factors of artificial intelligence, genetic modification and mind control, playing a direct role in shaping and controlling the traits of the human phenotype. The human phenotype describes the physical characteristics and traits that define the species of human beings. As we transition from one root race to another, these species factors, such as the physiological functions of the human body, are rapidly responding to the massive alterations that are occurring in the Earth body. This means that the collective human blueprint and human bodies are responding to the impending biological evolution that is required as a result of the planet's structural shift. The current evolutionary pressures are causing energy to form, anomalies to occur, especially within many environmental and physical factors. This new consciousness platform requires specific physiological adaptations to the genetic changes that are occurring in the human race, in order to acclimate to the new set of conditions and energies that we are being further exposed to, as they are related to the human evolutionary process. Those awakening now are in the forefront of embodying these adaptations as they are the consciousness bridge spanning into the future birth cycle of the next root race of the human species. Adaptive traits lead to identity rebirth. Structural, physiological and behavioral adaptations are necessitated by the deep impacts that are being made by current evolutionary forces sweeping onto the planet, reaching critical mass. Behavioral adaptation to the changing consensus that humanity is manifesting the consciousness state of the global reality through a self-directed thought, follows energy paradigm, as well as adapting to the energetic conditions that realization imposes on the entire species, is an example of adaptive traits coming online. Behavioral adaptations such as these resonate with the universal laws, and as such, they further activate the higher DNA functions in the human biology. For the human race to survive in this new energetic terrain, we are being forced to transform our beliefs and develop a variety of new behavioral patterns of adaptive traits. Adaptive traits stimulated by higher truths, such as comprehending the universal laws through which we are governed, further support evolution of the collective human race blueprint, by helping to catalyze the future generations' capacity to better evolve into higher functioning DNA. The human race is currently in a phase of adaptation to the planetary evolutionary process, and this is a difficult re-education and learning process required to continue to evolve and develop higher consciousness. It is made difficult because of the current mind control state over the nature of reality and the lack of public knowledge being shared about the rapid shifts impacting the planet, that describe planetary ascension. At the individual level, each person must decide if they are willing to open their mind and release dependencies upon the old paradigm and their subjugation to the controller archetype as their main authority. The controller archetype of the false king of tyranny exists everywhere, inside people that are politicians, employers, gurus, any person we give our power away to willingly. At this time, we must distinguish the differences between discerning tyrants and true leaders, as these are very different roles and should not be confused or equated. A true leader does not want to take our power away, while a tyrant will take the position of total authority over others. To spiritually evolve, we cannot play into the controller games anymore, we must reclaim our personal power and accept responsibility for ourselves. The thought paradigm must shift so that our species is able to acclimate to the new energy platform, which essentially is creating a new energetic terrain and new earthly habitat. Our species is evolving into the next progression of root race, and the body we inhabit now is a hybrid. It has the ability to spiritually evolve and transition into the new root race DNA imprint with the support of the planet's new consciousness structure. Essentially, we are the last generation of people that will have known consciousness slavery, and will have put an end to it in this lifetime, while in this physical body. Currently, those on the ascending path may undergo deep transformation that is similar to a personal identity rebirth, which reveals a new higher self version in place of their former ego selves. The rebirth process is the soul actualization of the personality. The soul ray infuses the layers of ego with the higher qualities of the true essence and higher nature of that individual. To go through this dimensional shift, we must change the destructive ways of thinking and behaving we had inherited from the 3D thought forms of the controller's predator mind, and adapt to the accumulative impacts that the current energy shifts create. If we can re-educate ourselves to learn what it means to stay in the energy flow of the moment and not resist the need for change, then adaptation to the planetary shift is much easier. The intergalactic transmissions are recreating the structures of the planet, and are essentially recreating the human race to evolve into the higher self version of their former personality selves. This process is undetectable to the 5 main senses of a person who is limited by 3D consciousness, and refuses to break through the reality boxes that they co-created with the 3D earth elements. Generally, the profile of this person is developed in their mental body and personality, and unintegrated with the other levels. There is a difference between reality boxes that are co-created with personal choice, and those which have been used to ensnare people into consciousness traps, based on the hidden pain and trauma that they believe is the reality box. The discernment is in knowing when people are being intentionally deceived, using the predator mind, in order to use other people's energy that has been parasitized and stolen for the controller agenda. Which is forcing people to repeat their painful trauma patterns, without their consent or knowledge, in order to gain more material power and control over them while they are inside the reality box. Quantic field impact to space-time. Currently, the planetary body is undergoing a space-time reorganization that ripples out many strange anomalies that influence the quantic field. As a result, there are new patterns of electromagnetic disturbances, interruption or distortions in the collective field. The quantum field, also referred to as inner space-time, is rippling these effects into the unmanifest layers of the core manifestation template, otherwise known as the blueprint matrices that make up the layers of morphogenetic fields in the Earth. Grid workers may feel the blueprint structure in the planetary field transforming completely with the shifting timelines, and this feels like something very different, extraordinary and even bizarre is occurring in the Earth fields. It feels like it is a new design that is encompassing our consciousness with the necessity to learn a foreign language, and yet it feels distantly familiar and vastly powerful. The blueprint alterations impact the dark matter template, and this appears to have direct consequences to altering and changing the Earth elements, and the elemental structure of the Earth body. This also changes our consciousness interface while we are on the planet, which forces us to adapt and find new ways of communicating with the Earth, and our connections with star family. The architectural changes extend to include areas connected as portals on the Earth, leading into off-planet structures that reach into the solar system and beyond. All communication systems connected to these levels of planetary architecture are undergoing fluctuation, reconfiguration, and it appears to be rebuilding interstellar links that reconnect Earth portals to realign into multiple star systems and celestial bodies. Some of these platforms being built are for the purpose of transiting out many inhabitants that have existed in the space-time areas on the Earth that must be moved somewhere else, and as a result are undergoing space-time reorganization at the end of the cosmic time cycle. The subatomic particles of elemental matter are rearranging within the new atomic structure that is in the process of being built to support the planetary body shift into the next harmonic universe. Subatomic particles are particles that are much smaller than atoms, and describe particle shifts at the quantum scale of matter and energy. Subatomic particles, such as electrons, protons and neutrons, make up atoms and are the building blocks of matter. As subatomic particles rearrange, it stimulates ionization of atoms, which produces electrical energy and a series of chemical reactions in the body. The human body, when subjected to strong electromagnetic signals, or activated kundalini, is capable of biological ionization that can generate plasma fields. In the ascending human body, ionization produces higher frequency plasma light for continuing to build our liquid plasma spiritual body. Eventually, we evolve to the point that we shift out from the chakra configurations in the light body that exist in the lower creation realms, in order to build a plasma light body structure. This structure, Merkaba, is for a traveling orb body that can house our higher plasma consciousness. This state of light body structure, chakras or orb body, signify the difference between reincarnation through the lower densities of space-time, or being freed from the lower constructs of space and time that allow our consciousness body to travel beyond the solar system. We are form and we are formless. The planetary elements of earth, water, air and fire are the fundamental building blocks of nature and form into compounds that make up our physical body. If we recognize our physical body is made up of these elements, particles and atoms, and our light body is made up of consciousness units that exist at an even smaller scale, and those quantum units are generating new levels of photonic or plasmic energy, then we realize that our entire consciousness body is undergoing a massive change at the quantum scale. This massive shift at the quantum scale is changing the laws of structure in the architecture that governs function over our matter body, as well as our consciousness bodies. Ascending humans are evolving into developing new abilities that change the characteristics of what was previously thought to be a human. Adaptations are occurring so that our higher consciousness intelligence can exist in matter, and simultaneously, we can experience multidimensional awareness in other timelines, yet be as unbound to time as plasma waves while traveling in the field. This is comprehending that our human energy field and physical body is reaching a new threshold of consciousness experience, through which we can directly experience the mechanics of wave and particle duality, happening in our body simultaneously. This was always functioning in our body at the quantum level, but we now can recognize and participate with that function in our consciousness, as it's happening. We are form and we are formless, simultaneously. In this new structure, we are able to experience our consciousness body as formless, shapeless, and moving through time functioning as a wave, while our physical body form is connected to Earth and still functioning within the principles of matter. Ascending humans are becoming aware that both states of being, formless and in form, are possible to exist within simultaneous or spiral time, and as the conscious observer of time, we can still remain unbound to the station of time and its constructs. As an example, in meditation or consciousness transport, we are experiencing another level of timeless, formless, and flowing movement that is unbound to space and time, in which our consciousness may more easily time travel or bilocate. The light body becomes free from the constraints of time and space to more easily time travel. When time traveling or dream walking, we can merge our consciousness body with the available consciousness energy to generate more plasma substance, uniting with the manifestation of new structural supports, such as holding pillars, stargates and portals that help the Earth and humanity to evolve in the ascension timeline. The Diamond Sun consciousness body has the capacity to function as its own stargate, from the inner space, quantum level, where the consciousness transforms into non-visible waves of light and travels great distances very quickly. For those that have embodied beyond the soul matrix and into monadic consciousness, this new sensation of the change of quantum scale and properties in the function of one's consciousness energy will be experienced in much more tangible ways. Something intangible that is occurring in the quantum of our own body is gradually becoming more tangible and substantial in the physical. The consciousness body is adapting into new functions that provide structural supports for the planet outside of time, and to bridge for the genetic tribe or group to which we are connected, to achieve higher consciousness attainment in this ending cycle. For those that are newly awakening, and beginning to embody the soul and chakra functions, this macrocosmic structure will not yet be apparent. The primary focus for those soul groups will be to work on self-mastery over the lower chakras, and to develop the foundation of the structure for the inner spirit to fully inhabit the physical body. This is very important, as for many multidimensional people on the path of ascension, this means how we connect into many levels of the consciousness structure has radically changed, our light body is radically changing, and our physical body is undergoing a series of adaptations in order to meet the new energy requirements. Our body may feel different and exhibit strange symptoms. Our previous ways of consciousness connection and communication are in fluctuation, while our light body is being reconfigured to accommodate the changing planetary architecture, solar architecture and beyond. Dreamwalking and consciousness transport. As the quantum field impacts the organization of space and time, those of us on the ascension path may be more easily entering altered consciousness states that could be defined as dreamwalking. In this definition, the function of dreamwalking is not entering or interfering with any person's dreams. As a spiritual initiate, when dedicating our consciousness to serve unity, while on the path of earth service, we discipline ourselves to master states of compassionate selflessness. We are connected, listening and feeling into our internal guidance systems at all times. This means we are mindful of the direction of our consciousness energies, and we work towards transcending our thoughts beyond personal material concerns, rising above the many pitfalls of the negative ego games played in the material world. As we develop ourselves spiritually, and the inner inspiration to be of service increases with greater passion, many of us will find ourselves in the dream-walking or remote viewing consciousness state in more spontaneous ways. Dreamwalking is to walk or transport one's consciousness to observe and heal the patterns and events transpiring in many alternate realities, timelines, and to see the nature of the structure of what created them, and to partner with God to find and remove reality boxes or dark portals that are used as consciousness traps. Dreamwalking is an altered state of heightened consciousness while in the pure observer state. It can occur while in another timeline, reality or existing outside of time. While in this altered state, we can bring that which was unconscious into our conscious awareness, so we can directly participate with that content while in our higher consciousness. The path of awakening is to bring that which is unconscious into consciousness, in order to heal the darkness or reveal the deception in order to see the greater truth. This is the state of bringing the eternal light to illuminate the shadows of darkness, thereby alchemically transforming its nature to reflect the higher truth, as the light shines upon it. We may prepare for entering this state by opening into deep prayer, meditation, and focused attention, which may help us to inspire creativity, healing, knowledge, and communication and exchanges with other beings. Indigenous peoples, Native Americans, Aborigines, Tibetans and the Celtic peoples are the earth tribes which carried the codes of the Dreamwalkers in time, and were helping to protect the earth by keeping this genetic pattern alive and its memory available for the human race during the Dark Age. The earliest Dreamwalkers after the Cataclysm were the women of this earth that formed from the grandmother turtle codes that were carried over from Lemuria's matriarchal society, to keep this secret consciousness knowledge away from the invaders. Lemuria suffered a great holocaust to obliterate the power that the women had developed on the earth, with Dreamwalker and Essene Templar abilities. As the mother principle and daughter codes surface onto the earth from deep within the crystal caverns, this codified language is returning to some of the women or men in their current embodiment, that were incarnated at the time or are descendants of those original tribes in Lemuria. This group of Dreamwalkers have returned to help restore the balance of the divine feminine principle on the earth, and many are found in the Native American or Aboriginal culture. In the higher dimensions of creation, when we hold the energetic signature and feeling of a person, place or thing, our consciousness is automatically transported to wherever they are located. Consciousness transport can happen while awake, asleep, in altered states or by intently focusing on a certain person or situation, such as focusing on a physical location or timeline on the Earth body. An example is that we can transport our consciousness energy when we hold intent to connect with a city, historical site, power spot or megalithic structure, especially when we are dedicated in service to unity. Consciousness transference states, such as dreamwalking, are more natural states for those in the awakening groups of indigos or star seeds. Consciousness transport and transference states can be learned and developed through any kind of practice in which the person, uninitiated or initiated, seeks to gain deeper knowledge of the state of unity that exists between God and self. However, many starseeds and indigos have developed these consciousness transport skills through previous incarnations where mental mastery, polarity integration, love and devotion, were a way of life in the higher realms of existence. As a result, dreamwalking and consciousness transport can happen with or without applying direct effort and intention to do so, as it is a function of the memories that are coming online that are recorded with higher genetic imprints. These dormant skills become awakened in people during the ascension cycle. Grid workers are often engaged in a variety of forms of consciousness transport, in order to hold observer point and witnessing of the events recorded in time that have occurred in the past or future, to impact the histories of the human race evolution on the Earth. The act of observation collapses certain wave potentiality that makes a situation, event or object become physical or change in ways that shift the timelines, and this is not measurable by current science. It is a direct function of higher consciousness embodiment to shift timelines from destructive probabilities or annihilation, by restoring harmony and energetic balance between the polarities. When we observe electromagnetic waveforms, archetypal patterns and the creational myth or dream symbols active in the field, we can change the physical environment and how that electromagnetic signal or pattern is being expressed in the manifest. The act of compassionate witnessing during consciousness transport, such as dream walking, allows us to witness what has happened to the Earth body, where the Earth was damaged, and the blueprint content that influences the direction of the collective consciousness of humanity. Where the Earth has been damaged, is also the location of tremendous amounts of human pain that is stuck in that area. As a result of this trauma, the accumulated collective human soul pain has been made into energy harvesting stations for the negative alien agenda. While dreamwalking the Earth timelines, we are able to source the origin of who, what and where in the creation stories, The dreamtime narratives or creational myths that are recorded in that section of the planetary body and its network. Sometimes, we can track the transmission source to off-planet structures, like constellations, Messier objects, planets and other astronomical bodies. The collective human race is directly impacted by that content transmission, such as creation myths, archetypes, numerical coding, and mind control frequencies, which get recorded into the blueprints and timelines of the Earth. As has been described, many of the planet's morphogenetic fields were abused with inserts of alien code used by the controllers for mind control programming, to promote collective archetypes that control the minds of the people on the Earth. Essentially, this combination of archetypal patterning for exerting control over the minds of the people has manifested distorted behavioral human phenotypes, where traits belonging to the reptilian and refugee races have been imprinted on the human population. While dreamwalking, it is possible to observe any kind of event that occurred in a location that has recorded collective consciousness archetypes, symbols, number codes, geometric patterns, holographic inserts and the narratives they create, to influence the minds and control the operating consciousness levels of the people on the Earth. Transfiguration, translocation, and transmigration. As the planet's consciousness structure is changing, the planet is undergoing chakra cone reconfiguration, and this is impacting how the individual chakras function in a person. For some, this means they may unify all of their chakra layers. This has impacts to the way the human energy field, or the light body, functions. When we are moving into a higher frequency aspect that is reconfiguring the function and operation of our light body, this exchanges information about the way the Merkaba spins. If our Merkaba is working and spins correctly, it governs the ability of our consciousness to be able to move in and out of the time and space fields. The planet has just completed its magnetic peak cycle, which discharged a massive amount of magnetic force into the Earth. Changes that occur during magnetic force exposure are explicitly related to stimulate DNA responses that may gain further activation of DNA fire codes. DNA fire codes are related to time vectors, and as such, they are relational to being able to function in a consciousness transport in between time fields. When there is change directed into the planetary magnetic field, that shifts electromagnetism, whether natural or artificial. The result is that is directly stimulating changes to occur in the DNA and its fire codes. There are natural consciousness transport functions in the diamond sun light body that have been mutated and reversed on the Earth to prevent their access. There are three main ways to describe the stages of consciousness transport in the diamond sun template that allow us to move our consciousness between this point in time and another point in time, or outside of time. These extend into further stages more complex than dreamwalking, because they are direct functions of the activated diamond sun body. These are transfiguration, translocation, and transmigration. Transfiguration is in the first stages of activating the diamond sun Christic consciousness. When that function starts coming online, there is an integration that occurs between the atomic layer of the physical body, and the light body layers that exist in the soul and spirit body of our monad. When we start connecting to the eternal divine source body, which is the liquid plasma field or the Christ consciousness, this is what we call the avatar source. Once we undergo a level of integration with the avatar source, the body starts to be able to perform transfiguration. Transfiguration means that the person can shift their consciousness body into light. In the first stages of developing transfiguration, this is usually happening in the sleep state. We learn how to travel during sleep state, and the first stage is learning how to bilocate. Bilocation means that the higher self of the person put themselves in their Merkaba body and they went elsewhere and then they came back. When this occurs, we leave the physical body here. So when in sleep state, the physical body is here, but the person leaves their body at night. the diamond sun consciousness leaves the physical body traveling in light, while sleeping to accomplish many other projects that are beyond the astral plane. Many people are experiencing that while doing community projects, meeting in places and having these lucid experiences in dreamtime. This is a level of where our higher consciousness intelligence is learning how to bilocate while leaving the body here sleeping. Translocation. The second stage of this is translocation. This level is when the consciousness is able to transfigure a portion of your atoms into light, meaning the physical body can be transfigured into light. In the previous stage, the body was left here on Earth and the person is projecting their consciousness out. They are going somewhere else and looking at the view, but they come back into the body. Now in the next stage of translocation, there is a certain part of the atoms in that body that are transfigured into light, temporarily. So that person can go visit somewhere else, and take a portion of their atoms or their body with them while they travel. During translocation, the person is still encrypted or connected to the space-time location of where they were physically born. As an example, say the body transfigures into light and the person travels to another planet. The people on the planet that is being visited are going to know that person is from the Earth, because that person is still holding the space-time location of where they came from, of where they were born. The identity that person has is still holding the encryption of the birth transduction sequence that energetically reveals that person is from the Earth. So that means that part of you is still genetically keyed to the Earth body, and that the energetic signature reveals the location of where your identity was born. Translocation means that we can transfigure a portion of our physical body to go someplace else, but we still have the genetic imprint from our parents and where we were born on planet Earth. Transmigration. This is the third and final stage of developing full consciousness freedom. This is similar to the process of translocation, however, the person does not have to come back to the Earth at all. Now the person can go any place in the cosmos that they choose to go without limitation. However, if they go to another planet, they will be subjected to the laws of that planet's inhabitants. This is the status of having a cosmic identity and being a full cosmic citizen. This has been accomplished a few times on the Earth historically, but the current planetary miasma mutations can make this very hard, although it may become easier in the future. Transmigration is one way to describe what it means to be free. That when we project our consciousness body out, we don't have to come back to the Earth, nor do we have to incarnate back here. In order to be able to achieve a full transmigration of our consciousness body and physical body, we must have released the miasmatic record and the cell we inherited from our biological parents. There is a cell that is carried from the family of origin that is recorded into the physical body at birth that was inherited from the biological parents. It is a cell that was created in the chromosomes at the time the egg and sperm of our biological parents united. This cell becomes a part of the seed of the physical body that we are incarnated in. Once the family of origin cell is freed, it gets cleared from the body, and as it releases, it vaporizes. At this point of transmigration, the person is now a cosmic citizen. They may hold memories of being on the Earth, but their identity isn't necessarily that. This third stage is something that is very special, unique, and specific to the diamond sun body and crystal consciousness in order to achieve full sovereignty and spiritual freedom. Earth element is transforming. As a result of the structural and architectural changes influencing the Earth body, the Earth element and Earth substance as a raw material, for matter forms is also transforming. All planetary elements are shifting, however. The relationship that the Earth body has specifically connected to the spleen functions, has direct relevance to the current transformation impacting the emotional body and the blood production in the physical body. The spleen governs transportation and transformation of what we consume, into energy that builds and protects the blood. The blood holds our entire consciousness record blueprint. As such, This is entirely related to the main shifts that are occurring between our higher consciousness as it translates into our physical body into the bloodstream, as these records are beginning to circulate and connect into the physical body differently. The wounds of Christ are karmic blood miasms recorded in the planetary body and collective human body from crucifixion implants that were holographically inserted into the planetary brain. These inserts misdirected and stole the planetary life force and crucified the human body parts belonging to our spirit. One important area of the human body that was impacted from the planetary inserts was the spleen implant, located on our 7D axional line, in the left side ribcage. These false crucifixion stories and holographic inserts are how the planetary collective mind was invaded, to reflect the salvation model of a crucified deity, to spread organized religion. This represented the enslavement of humanity to recycle their souls from tainted blood and blood sacrifice, which is what the crucifixion story actually is. The current evolutionary stage is impacting the release or surfacing of these human blood records and their histories, and as a result, there is a detoxification and shift occurring in our blood, and potentially, the full release of the spleen implant. The human spleen was dormant from implants that prevented it from regenerating our red blood cells and protecting the white blood cells that record our spiritual consciousness memories and histories. The spleen's higher function is to protect and spiritualize our blood, to nourish our blood and to circulate that spiritual essence in partnership with the heart, to communicate that essence into the other organs through our blood. The spleen is responsible for the removal of old red blood cells, and the production and storage of white blood cells, which cleanse infection from the blood. The spleen is directly related to healing tissues, repairing cellular integrity, keeping muscles strong and nourished, and managing the immune responses throughout our body. The spleen is functionally equivalent to a large lymph node that focuses on cleansing our blood and supporting immunity from invaders. Blood diseases and related issues from the cleansing of the wounds of the Christ as they are surfacing from cellular memories, may be clearing out and removing crucifixion blockages, and this can manifest into related physical symptoms. All that is related to protecting and nourishing our blood is especially relevant at this time. The main 5 organs as defined by traditional Chinese medicine, the liver, lung, spleen, heart and kidney, may need extra care and attention. Stomach and spleen relationship. This imbalance can escalate many physical and emotional issues for the people of the earth, as their body and sense of identity in relationship with the earth element is greatly fluctuating and transforming. When we are out of balance and feeling disharmonious with the earth element, we feel extremely depleted, drained, and emotionally unhappy. Traditional Chinese medicine considers that the spleen is one of the most important organs functioning within our body. When we consider the higher functions of the spleen as designed is to purify, protect and spiritualize our blood, and that it was crucified in the earth element by the negative alien agenda to stop its proper functioning in the human body, then this has direct significance and spiritual importance. Reflecting on this relationship to see if there is resonance in our own body may be helpful to reveal ways we can better support the physiological changes that are occurring in the planet, that are impacting the earth element of our body. Our relationship with food, consumption, and energy management is also changing, and some of us may feel pain or oversensitivity in the solar plexus region from being unable to digest our food, unable to digest our reality, while feeling unable to process the amount of intense emotions we feel. This impacts the stomach and spleen from being able to transform what we do consume into proper nourishment and circulating them into vital forces that the body requires to stay strong. When the spleen and stomach suffer damage, food and drink stagnate and do not transform, the mouth loses its ability to distinguish flavors and the extremities feel limp and tired. Discomfort, bloating and distension are felt in the stomach and abdominal regions, symptoms of vomiting and diarrhea appear, or there may be excessive bleeding. Many chronic and difficult health problems such as edema, chronic fatigue syndrome, insomnia, hair loss, iron deficiency, irregular periods, infertility, can be due to a disorder of the spleen function. This pattern is very common in our culture, not only because of the spleen crucifixion implant, but also because of the culture of disconnection we are subjected to, as well as the excessive thinking, high stress and irregular eating habits that are a result of our busy daily schedules. During this phase, it may be supportive to the overall functioning of the body to consider ways that you may directly learn how to support your spleen's higher function, as it is coming online. The spleen is the center of transporting the energy of what's processed in our stomach into our blood and transforms that into healthy vital forces that the body can use to regenerate and strengthen itself. Western medicine does not consider the spleen's importance at any level, and thus, researching traditional Chinese medicine that understands the spleen as an essential organ for our body's health, and agrees with the fact that everything is interconnected with energy, may be much more productive. Please only take what is useful for your spiritual growth and discard all the rest. Thank you for your courage and bravery to be a truth seeker. I am God, sovereign, free. Until next, stay in the luminosity of your avatar Christos Sophia heart path. Please be kind to yourself and each other. With a loving heart, Lisa.